From the moment we open our eyes to the world, long before we understand language or logic, our mind is already recording. It records sounds, sensations, emotions, and patterns. It records how we are held, how we are spoken to, how we are responded to, and how we are ignored. These early impressions become the quiet architects of who we later become, shaping behaviors we think are our choices, reactions we assume are natural, and emotional responses we often struggle to explain. People say childhood shapes us, but what they don't say is that it shapes us even when we don't remember it. The brain of a child is absorbent, incredibly sensitive, constantly scanning for cues about safety, belonging, and love. Every smile, every silence, every unpredictable moment becomes a message. And these messages, repeated often enough, sink deep into the subconscious. They become the echoes that follow us into adulthood. Some echoes are soft, gentle reminders of security, warmth, and trust. Others are loud, sharp, and persistent, replaying memories of fear, neglect, or confusion. And whether we realize it or not, these echoes influence how we see ourselves and how we relate to others. They show up in the way we communicate, the way we love, the way we argue, the way we chase validation, and even the way we avoid it. A child who grows up constantly criticized often becomes an adult who apologizes for existing. Someone who is taught that love must be earned by being useful may grow into an adult who never rests, always proving, always performing, always fearing that stillness will make them unworthy. A child who felt invisible may become an adult who either avoids attention entirely or desperately seeks it, trying to fill the lingering void of being unseen. And the opposite is true as well. A child who is encouraged becomes an adult who dares. A child who is comforted becomes an adult who knows how to comfort themselves. A child who was taught emotional expression becomes an adult capable of healthy communication. The echoes can be painful, but they can also be powerful. But the truth is, most of us move through adulthood unaware of these psychological fingerprints. We don't wake up and think, I'm reacting this way because at age 6, my emotional needs weren't met. Instead, we think, this is just how I am. We assume our behaviors are part of our personality, not part of our past. We don't consider that the fear of abandonment came from inconsistent love, or that our difficulty trusting others came from early betrayal, or that our perfectionism was born from wanting to avoid punishment or disapproval. So many of the struggles we face as adults, overthinking, jealousy, people-pleasing, emotional numbing, constant self-doubt, are not personality flaws. They're survival strategies learned in childhood. Strategies that made sense back then but now hold us back. Children who grew up walking on eggshells become adults who fear conflict, not because they're weak, but because conflict once meant chaos. Children who weren't allowed to express emotions become adults who bury their feelings, not because they're cold, but because feelings once led to shame. Childhood does not disappear just because we grow older. It whispers instructions long after the danger is gone. And this is where awareness becomes powerful. When we look inward with compassion, not blame, we begin to understand that our responses are not random. They are stories. They are memories. They are echoes. And once we hear them clearly, we can finally decide which ones we want to keep and which ones we are ready to release. Healing begins the moment we stop judging ourselves for the behaviors we develop to survive. No child chooses their environment. No child chooses the emotional world they are born into. But every adult has the opportunity to choose transformation. It starts with recognizing patterns. Do you shut down during arguments because no one listened when you spoke as a child? Do you avoid asking for help because you were taught to handle everything alone? Do you cling tightly in relationships because love felt uncertain growing up? These patterns don't mean something is wrong with you. They mean something happened to you. Many people live their entire lives reacting to experiences they don't remember. And the bravest thing we can do is trace the reaction back to its origin. To ask ourselves, who taught me to be this way? Not to blame, but to understand. Because understanding creates distance, and distance creates choice. One of the greatest truths in psychology is that awareness rewires the brain. The moment we recognize a childhood echo, it loses its power to control us. What once felt like instinct becomes something we can observe. And once we observe it, we can change it. We can learn to regulate what once overwhelmed us. We can learn to say no where we once said yes. We can learn to trust where we once feared. We can learn to love ourselves in ways we never learned as children. No childhood is perfect. Even in loving homes, misunderstandings and emotional gaps happen. But what defines us is not what happened. It's how we understand it now. Healing does not mean erasing the past. It means rewriting the role it plays in your life. It means choosing new beliefs, new reactions, new behaviors, even if the old ones feel familiar. Especially if the old ones feel familiar. Because familiarity is not the same as truth. Often, what feels familiar is simply what we survived. The most important part of this journey is remembering that you are not broken. You are patterned. And patterns can be changed. You are not destined to repeat the emotional world you grew up in. You can outgrow it. You can build new ways of thinking, new ways of relating, new ways of being. You can become the person your childhood needed. And maybe that is the quiet miracle of adulthood, realizing we can give ourselves now what we lacked back then. Safety, love, understanding, patience, a voice, a choice. Childhood echoes may follow us, but they do not have to define us. They are the beginning of our story, not the end. And when we choose awareness, healing, and growth, we turn those echoes into lessons. We turn wounds into wisdom. And we turn survival into strength. Your past shaped you, but it does not have to limit you. Awareness is the key. Compassion is the path. And the rest of your life is the place where you get to rewrite the echoes into something new, something healthier, something truly yours.